one of those days. I'm going to let Candy do more talking tonight so I can take a breath after my show, all the stuff we went through. Candy, you have anything you want to pop off right here at the beginning?
No, we'd just like to thank everyone who's come here tonight to experience this with us and work with us to move the French sciences forward. We're trying to take NPS to the next level, and we can only do that with the representatives and members like you.
We got to have some active members.
Absolutely.
So this week, all month we've been talking about aliens, UFOs. We kicked off the show talking with our department chair, Eric, and kind of hanging out with him and Eddie and talking about some stuff with UFOs. So Candy's kind of charged us, the photography team, that once a month, usually it's going to be the third or fourth week of the month, the photography team gets to help out with the department for the month. So for aliens and UFOs this week, we chose some pretty cool pictures, I think. I purposely chose ones that were pre-digital technology on purpose. I'm kind of getting tired of looking at the fake pictures and the ghost apps and the Photoshop and all of that, and thought it would be fun to look at something that you can't just immediately dismiss as being Photoshopped because they didn't have it back then. One of the pictures actually was taken with stereo photography, and we'll talk about that. But I think we had some pretty good pictures this week and some good discussion on it.
Absolutely. The members participated to a level that I didn't expect, and I was absolutely thrilled to see them come in and offer their thoughts and explanations and their opinions on it. And what I'm really beginning to admire is that people are actually giving consideration to their analysis. There's a lot of people who see a photo and say, "Oh, okay, it's paranormal."
A lot of people.
It just shows that that we've got a lot of work to do as a group. As a community, if we want to find the Holy Grail, we have to first understand that not everything is paranormal, because if everything's paranormal, then it's actually normal.
Right? Wasn't that the question last night?
Absolutely. We have to, we have to work harder and smarter. And we have the ability to do that, absolutely. And the thing is that we have to do what we have agreed to do, research and investigate. There was a photo up of a cemetery and it was modified. And it's hard when those pictures come up on the site all the time not to just look at it and go, and you kind of wonder, if they think you just rolled off the turnip truck. Especially since 90% of the ghost apps use the same hue. It's the same color scheme, no matter how much they lighten it up. That's one thing that I'm pretty acute in noticing. You don't see any lime green ghosts, right? It's always that bluish gray coloration.
Yeah, it's consistent.
Absolutely. And so here I'm talking, and I'm sure some fool out there who's making an app is going, "Ooh, lime green, that'll shut her up." Well, no. Yeah. And again, people are asking why we're always taking the photos apart. That's our job. And if we're missing something and we're not effectively dissecting the photo to find out what is actually left that we can't explain, then we're just turning it into a paranormal fan page, and I'll shut the page down before that happens.
Yeah, we're not going to have a fan club. And I think that's kind of what we've been getting at. We talked about on DNS Live, if you guys were watching, we talked about pixelation of pictures, and when people add to pictures or they fake them, the pixelation changes too, because you cannot match up those pixelations with the ghost apps or with photoshopping, because you don't know what the settings were on the camera that took the original picture. You can try to match them up, but you're not always going to get it. And there are applications out there that can define that and can say if it's been altered or not. When we ask you to send originals, we're asking for a reason. We are picking it apart.
Well, I was a little startled, the national syndication would validate a photo that I'm certain their, their staff photographers could have dissected pretty quickly. Just, it was ironic. And some of the comments, taking away from the scientific community. I don't degrade the spiritual community. I ask them to help establish a baseline for themselves so that we can start, seeing some consistent metrics. People are saying, well, I'm psychic. I get these feelings. Well, so do I. And, it's not all Taco Bell related. But the thing is how do I distinctify what I anticipate because of the chemicals, the dopamine and the serotonin and the adrenaline in my brain from something that actually is coming to me just before. Tally and I, we've been driving around a lot the last few days. 2 days ago, my daughter's friend fell on some gravel, and she had a rock about the size of my thumb embedded in her knee. She's 13 years old, so we took her to the hospital, which is about an hour and a half from where we live. Our parents finally got there about 1:30 in the morning, and we were just about an hour and a half out from Grand Junction, where we had to be at 10 o'clock in the morning. So we just decided we were going to drive from Montrose General to Grand Junction, Colorado, which is about another 60, 70-ish miles. Well, Tally and I were having a discussion, and I asked him, I said, have you seen any antelope around here lately? I said, I have not seen an antelope in 20 years. And Tally kind of looked at me and goes, well, yeah, I've seen a few the past, 6 months. And I was like, that's ironic. And I promise you, not a minute and a half later, there was the biggest buck standing in the road that you've ever seen. And we almost wrecked. Now, how ironic is that? I mean, that's something I wrote down because
yeah,
I know, right? And that happens on occasion to me. I'll say something and not 15 minutes it'll happen. And he kept asking me why I didn't do it with money. I've been trying. I've been talking about money a lot. I think I'm just annoying people now. But when I have these situations happen, I try to document them to see if it is just coincidence or if it's a natural instinct that's coming on. And it's the same with the scientific community. Is it a blip? Is it a fluke? Or is it something that we can start measuring the metrics of and maybe eventually even predict, And so that's where we are with these photos too. And, honestly, I have to tell you that the photographic evidence wouldn't be enough to substantiate anything for me right now unless it was taken in a succession of photos and there were 3 or 4 independently interviewed eyewitness accounts. Just because of how much fraud we've had, not just us, the paranormal community in general.
Oh, yeah.
There's been so much deception. I mean, because everybody wants that one thing. They want their 15 minutes of fame. I mean,
exactly.
It's like Lindsay Lohan. It's sad. That's kind of the syndrome. It's, the Lilo syndrome of the paranormal world.
Yeah, it's sad when it comes to, we've been talking about how NPS has always been the go-to place for education and for solutions, and that is what NPS is. And we've got people coming and sharing just pictures on the page, and I feel like they're testing us or mocking us at times because they are using ghost apps on these pages. We start asking questions, and all of a sudden, I was rude last night for asking questions. I'm not being rude, I'm asking questions. When you were a child and you were learning, how did you learn? What was the first question out of our mouth all the time? Why? But why? But why? We are naturally inquisitive beings.
Right, and I'm sorry, but I've never seen anything substantiated with the phrase "because I said so," or "I don't remember, it was years ago." Okay,
yeah.
I can give you pictures of my children and say, "What's that? I don't know. Where'd you take it? I don't know."
Yeah,
I'm not going to come to your house and do that. I mean, seriously. And if you think it's rude to be questioned, you're in the wrong place. And there's a little button right under settings.
Remove. I mean, we won't get our feelings hurt because we stress it at least weekly. NPS is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. So you either want to share or you don't. And if you feel like you're going to get torn apart when you share, maybe you need to visit with one of us on why you feel like you're going to be quote-unquote torn apart. Because we are going to ask questions. I mean, we got to the bottom of things last night where, finally the picture was matrixing. But you wanted to kind of have the argument with me all along, and we couldn't see eye to eye. That's going to happen on the picture. We're going to ask those same questions.
I still disagree. I don't believe it's matrixing. I believe that photo was absolutely modified. And
well, it was taken from it was a still, let's see if I remember this. It was a still picture from a camera. And it was, so the original was, wait a minute, the original was a still picture from a camera. What we saw last night was a copy of that original.
Right, and as long as they put it on a digital format, they can modify it. Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing that was on the headstone, I'm sorry, you know, and it explain to me, prove to me why it's authentic. You know what I mean?
Well, and explain to me why you didn't take more than one picture. I'm sorry, I probably go through minimum in a cemetery. You've seen my pictures when I post them. 250 pictures minimum in a cemetery. I would never just go take one. That's ridiculous. And if you're filming, show me the video. And if you don't still have the original, I'm sorry. That's like me saying, you know what, I got this Elvis Presley autograph. I have a picture of it because I have the picture at home. But can you authenticate this for me? People just don't get it. They just don't get it.
And two, you know, the opportunity to learn is there. There's, you know, people who say, oh, you're questioning, you know, my integrity. Mm-hmm. Then I expect you to question mine. If I posted something, I have a picture. You've seen it of the little boy.
Yep.
And every time I post it, nobody ever addresses the picture. They always go off on this tangent. What happened to that child? It's like, absolutely nothing.
Yep.
Nothing, you know, and it kind of makes me laugh. It's like,
well, you know what people are looking at when they're looking at stuff.
What do I feel when I see the picture? I don't know. What do you feel when you see a duck? Now, how does that apply, really? I mean,
I get hungry.
Ooh, I don't like them. They taste like mud.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like, it has nothing to do with the paranormal.
Right. Well, you know, and I understand some people read pictures. All right. But I would be more apt to believe that individual if they read the photo without contamination. What I mean by that is a blind reading. You see it, nothing is said about it whatsoever, and it's not these broad answers. Oh, it's somebody with an M, it's somebody's son. Well, duh.
Yeah, specific.
It's a boy. It is somebody's son. Is it somebody you lost? Well, if it's the picture is in like 1960 or 70, it's more likely, you know.
Right.
It's pragmatic, and there's these open-ended questions. And also, you know, I have a real issue with people that are grieving, coming in and being exploited. You know, I've had to really step back and fight the urge to ban members who go in there and say things to them while they're grieving.
Yeah.
NPS is getting ready to take a stand on that situation so that people aren't exploited. You know, I understand about grieving. I lost my mom a couple years back to metastatic breast cancer. And I posted something on my private page about it. And this woman persisted in coming at me in private message and on my Facebook page about my mom's passing and this, that, the other. And she didn't get anything right. Not one thing. You know, she said something about, you know, even though I wasn't there, my mom knew I was there. I was holding her hand when she died.
I
you know, she told me that my mom was with her father. My grandpa's alive. And I told her, you know, actually, I researched the woman, and I turned her into the local authorities in her area for harassing me.
I would have too. I mean, that's just if you had asked for it.
Oh, no.
Great, but you didn't. And you know, how long has your mom been gone now? Probably about as long as my dad, right?
She died January 1st of 2012.
Okay, so 2 years shorter than dad. But it's still, you know, we're still grieving. We're still going through that process. It's not fresh on us. So for her to have the audacity to message you with this false read that you didn't even ask for, and then the people that on the NPS page.
Well, and that's what worries me. People coming to the page grieving the loss of a child. That is profound. You know, and I'm a woman in my mid-40s. You know, I dealt with my mother's death. You know, I knew it was coming. I didn't realize it was going to be so quick. But, I mean, I could sit here and talk about it and, you know, what paranormal significance I think there was in the meantime. there's been no paranormal significance in my mother's death. You know, I don't go out and try to talk to her because I made my, you know, I was one of those fortunate people. I was able to make my peace when my mom went. I've had one experience where I swear to God, she was walking up to the door. I thought I was going to toss my cookies. You know, my husband's sitting there, the whole family sitting there watching TV, and I burst into tears. And, you know, my husband consoled me, and he hugged me, and we talked about it. And, you know, I gave explanations of what I felt, and it was funny. I mean, I could tell you exactly what she was wearing, and that was my experience. It was personal, but I don't go to the page asking for somebody to help me help myself understand that loss, because there's no explaining it. It's got to be, you know, a personal acceptance, and to have somebody go, you know, message me so we can privately talk about this. And you need bereavement counseling. You need bereavement counseling first, because nobody that I know on that NPS page is a mental health professional. Now, if you are a mental health professional and you choose to step in, it's all well and good. I want to see your credentials. I want you to private message me your license and your name, because guess what? By law, I can ask for that.
Yeah, we will research it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we want to protect our members. Protect them from each other and from themselves.
Exactly.
But our program is about education. Now, I find it kind of entertaining that 85% of the people who believe in ghosts do not believe in aliens or UFOs. And I know. I was like, I had a man respond to me one time. He goes, aliens? He goes, you are ridiculous. And I was like, did you just say that you thought Butch Cassidy was haunting your house? No. Whatever.
Well, and what's even better is the people, when was it? Was it earlier this week? I can remember it was one of the pictures I posted or something else, but somebody was like, aliens aren't paranormal. Okay, then tell me what is paranormal and what falls underneath the paranormal umbrella.
My 16-year-old son just looked at me and goes, seriously? Yes, son.
Yeah, seriously.
I know, right? Well, the interesting thing about the UFOs is that we have, I'm sorry, my nose itches really bad. I've got allergies, folks. Is that we've had eyewitness accounts from presidents. You know, LBJ, Carter, Ronald Reagan spoke about it. Astronauts, you know, scientists, Nobel Prize laureates, farmers, ranchers. I mean, we have the whole debacle at Skinwalker Ranch, you know. I still can't get past what an aeronautical billionaire wanted with a 400-some acre piece of land in the Cheyenne Indian Reservation. Something's going on. You know what I mean? I believe that alien technology is completely influenced.
Yeah, the government wouldn't be involved unless there was a reason to be. Why do you think they leave us ghost hunters alone?
Well, you know, we're all talking about this new technology that we're getting to play with. You know, I remember as a child when my father got back from Vietnam, he was talking about equipment that they got to use, you know, in their military maneuvers. Sure as heck, you know, several years later, this stuff starts being introduced to the American population and to the public. Laser sights have been around for a very long time, but where the diode technology and those types of things come from. You know, cell phones, you know, analog phones were all the rage. You remember the big car phones and the bag phones everybody
with the big old bag battery?
Right. Well, what the military's gradually done is move everybody to digital, so it's a satellite reading. They can uplink, but for privatized communications, they still use that analog signal because it is solid as a rock.
Yeah.
People who get their EVPs really don't understand their K bands or Y bands, those types of things. I mean, there's so much going on, you know, in the debris in space. I'm certain people don't realize how much debris there is up there. You know, where did all this come from? You know, we can put a substation in space, but we can't cure a cold. Really?
Yeah. Or we can't find a cure for cancer?
Oh, well, that's a whole different show. That's pharmaceutical big business. But anyway.
Yes. But it goes to the mentality of what we can and can't do.
Absolutely. Well, and you know, if you get into pectoglyphs and the pictoglyphs all over the world, there are ancient civilizations with references to star people, you know. A lot of historians will
have that if it was just something so new that somebody just came up with to believe.
Yes. Well, and you know, there's a lot of people who really dispute the archaeology and those types of things, and that's understandable because everybody has their own path in theory. You know, I think to think we're alone and that we've done all this by ourselves is a little arrogant.
It's crazy. Know? It's
too, and I'm a straight up MUFON addict. I love MUFON. I love their site. They have Open Minds TV. I love that stuff. I even, I watch Eric Von Daniken, and I like his theories. I'm interested in Zacharias Sitchin and that crazy little guy with all the hair on the History Channel, Giorgio or something or other.
Well, have you noticed? I was thinking about you the other night. Was it Saturday night? Deegan and I were watching TV, and he loves to watch History Channel. I do too. But it seems like, I don't know, the more that we have tried to enlighten NPS members about the different areas of the paranormal, the more I see it on TV. So first it was cryptozoology. Now the other night we were watching, they were back-to-back shows on UFOs. And so now I'm like, okay, this is really starting to kind of step up now. Right. It's like the more that we try to push that, yes, the paranormal is more than just ghost. And we talked about, we've been talking about ramping up the cryptozoology department. This month we've been talking about UFOs. Well, it's kind of like we talk about it, and I see it on the History Channel.
Well, no, see, I think we're systematically burning out some of the facets. Like paranormal TV has been worked, reworked, and worked again half a dozen different ways. The only thing we're waiting for right now, we'll go back to Lindsay Lohan, is for her to join the Playboy Bunnies and doing their investigations. Really, seriously, what part of their cleavage is going to get a better EVP than anybody else's?
Does it echo better than
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's sensationalized. I mean, take something actually pure and cool. Like when Ghost Hunters or Jason Grant first started. I liked their show at first, and then very quickly it got Hollywood, just like the rest of them. Zach doing the vampires now. I mean, it's a reach for ratings. That's what the Playboy, And if I swear to God, if I hear one person tell me that the Playboy Bunnies are doing a legitimate paranormal show, I
will start writing letters.
No, well, it doesn't matter because it sells. It's big business. There's a lot of information out there. There's so much information out there. Case Files is a great place on the internet to go and look up UFO history. If you go to the NPS website, under the Department for the Aliens and UFOs, I've put several links in there, and Eric has added to it. There's a lot of legitimate organizations who are working very, very, very hard to establish, some evidence. It's not like there isn't anything out there to say that this hasn't happened. What's happening is that somebody goes in and discredits it, mainly, I think, government, the military.
Right.
But that doesn't take away from the eyewitness accounts. I'm sorry, I don't think Buzz Aldrin's a big fat liar. I don't.
Right.
I don't care. And, he's a patriot. He is an American patriot. And he was chosen out of how many people? How many other astronauts have had these experiences and told us if we think we're all that's out there that we're ridiculously retarded? I just don't know what to think sometimes. What I am interested in doing with NPS and all of its members is building a better mousetrap. And MUFON has put together an amazing formula. They've taken all their claims,
awesome.
Yep, and they've got a database and some metrics put to it. There's Scientology is entirely dedicated to alien influence on our planet. And what's funny is Tom Cruise and Sean Travolta and Kelly Preston and a slew, just a slew of other Hollywood great big name people absolutely 100% buy into this. 100%.
What does that say? I don't know. MUFON, I was real impressed with their site because I was kind of looking at it. We're talking about launching Endeavor and all that. but I thought it was cool. You could see all the information, and then whatever that person sent along, whether it was a drawing, a sketch, a picture, was tied right there to it. So you could see them talking about it, see the location, see all the details, and then actually see the pictures. Right. And I thought that was kind of cool, and it kind of gave me, you know, a final vision, so to speak, for how Endeavor is going to be for us. And it's going to take us a while to get there, but I think move on having that and having proved that they can do that, I think that's a huge, huge step. And I think, you know, I think we can follow kind of in those footsteps with what we want for, you know, ghosts and hauntings.
Yep, evidentiary support, you know. If you're going to send us a photograph, it better be one in succession of many.
Yeah, it needs to be that 1, 2, 3 rule.
Yep, yeah. And
talk about that.
Audio, video, I mean, we're going to establish standards. And, you know, another thing with this is it's a living document. There are going to be things that we're going to come across eventually that need to be addressed in the documents. We'll add it, or something that just doesn't, it just phases out of being pertinent and we remove.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, like you said, it's a living and working document. There's going to be things that we want to add. There's going to be things that we're going to want to take away. There's going to be things we want to merge. We've kind of gone through that process since we initialized the documents we gave Ken to start setting it up. And we've been kind of molding and shaping it. And it's going to take a lot of input from others to make it what we need for it to be and what we want for it to be to shoot out what we need out of it.
It's going to be a group effort, you know, and I was kind of, you know, I guess I was a little naive to think that when we decided to launch this that I wasn't going to be met with much criticism because I thought that people were ready to take the next step forward. However, you know, big eye opener. Yeah. I'm going to have to defend my position. And it kind of made me giggle, you know, because I think that I think that some people just assume that some lame brain woman out in the middle of nowhere just had this idea and she put it all together in about 15 minutes. No.
Just like that. You didn't think about any legal aspects of it. You didn't think about any documenting of it. None of that. It was just something that you just kind of, you know what, I had a dream. I had a premonition. You know, I was looking at a picture and I thought, I see. No, that's not how it happened. It was a little bit more than that. A lot more than that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and you know what's cool about this is that, you know, it was an idea and I brought it to a group of people and we made it come alive. And that, you know, it's kind of growing and it's going to, I have a feeling, you know, we're going to get a lot of information from it. And I know that we're going to meet resistance with some teams because they're not going to be able to slap a flashlight on their forehead and run out in the dark and pretend to be doing something. You know, it's going to be for those that are
accountable. You know, they're going to have to, if you want it submitted in Endeavor, you're going to have this additional information. And I think it's really going to make us think about people that think, you know, oh, I'm going to go investigate just to investigate. And you're not taking any metrics. You're not doing any baselines. I mean, it's going to start changing the face of things because if we're getting these fan club members, like I like to call them, that all they do is watch the TV shows and they go and investigate, even the TV show guys aren't capturing all of the information that we're going to be asking for in Endeavor.
You know, I wonder, I've kind of questioned if those people are coming in asking those questions aren't target marketing on purpose. You know what I mean? They come in and cultivate this conversation about a TV show. 700 comments about whether Zach or Jason. Give me a break. Get it off my page, please.
Like, can we please just take the stick of dynamite?
Well, it was mindless. I mean,
you know, the whole point is not educational. Us talking about a TV show is not helping us further any of the fringe sciences at all. It's helping somebody's pocket line.
It was a marketing tool, and and we have to watch the page for people coming in and marketing, and trying to target the members for money. You know, like with the UFOs. You know, I've had members PM me about sightings. I send them straight to MoveOn. Straight there, I tell them, tell me about it, because I'm dying to know. And you know, but we aren't set up to handle that kind of investigating. My group goes out, you know, we had a couple of UFO claims, and it was unfortunate too because the client wasn't credible. She proved herself to be very incredible. And it was concerning. Mental health illness kind of concerning. And it was frustrating. And two, I broke my telescope. So, I know, right?
Like, this is bad.
It's painful. Well, I love it, because where we live up here, I mean, I live in a town with, I live at 7,014 feet, and in a town of less than 1,500 people. We have skies out here that are phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better, and I spend a lot of time looking at the sky, whether it's with my Bushnell binoculars or with the rifle scope. I'm serious. I go redneck on it. I can't help it. It broke in the move, and I just haven't been the same since.
That sucks.
I know, but the thing is that I've gone to these other sites and tried to learn how they process these things, and I can't even begin to tell you the amount of government documents I've read through on eyewitness accounts and those types of things. And even the UFOs are sensationalized. You got speakers that are paid thousands of dollars to go and show up and talk. But a lot of the speakers are accredited scientists, and when somebody from NASA speaks out, I tend to listen.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the difference between, and it kind of goes back to what you said. People will believe in ghosts, but not aliens and UFOs. Aliens and UFOs, thanks to MUFON and the people associated with it, they have credentials. They are true scientists. They are degreed and practiced and experienced scientists from hell. They have the benefit of being able to have that, where we don't have that within ghosts and hauntings. And so for you to believe in a ghost and not believe that there's aliens and UFOs,
right?
Really? Do you believe that 2 + 2 is 4? I mean, come on, Some things are a little more preserved and documented through MUFON than it is for the ghost side. I think a lot of people watch too much Casper and Scooby-Doo, maybe. Or not.
Yeah, it took me, I was in my 30s before I realized that Shaggy was a pothead. I didn't get it.
With all the snacking?
Yeah, it took me a minute. I didn't realize that Bert and Ernie were a couple either. Right. My daughter was disgusted with me. She's like, Mom, I'm like, what?
We never got the obvious, maybe.
No, I just thought it was cool,
They were just innocent, if there's such a thing as that.
No, we have uteruses. That takes that all away right there.
Yeah.
I know, right?
It was the 70s. It was the 70s is what they're saying.
What's really cool though is that with my fascination, like with the sky, my kids have gotten into photos about the Hubble telescope, and one of the best sites I've ever seen is skyimagelab.com, and I am going to put this on the chat room for people to go visit. It is the most amazing photos out of the Hubble telescope that you could ever imagine, and if it doesn't just reach down and touch your soul, or every fiber of your being, I don't know what would. It made me feel so small and so amazingly big at the same time,
Oh, yeah. These are like awesome pictures.
Oh, freaking amazing. The nebulas and oh God, Orion. I love Orion's belt. The Orion Nebula.
This is stuff we can actually capture on photos. These are legit, guys. Unlike ghost hauntings.
They don't have to be digitally enhanced because they're freaking awesome already.
Oh, Hand of God is awesome. I may have to have this one.
Oh yeah, Eagle Eye Nebula. They're amazing. Awesome. And the thing is teaching our kids that that's all out there. Every last bit of it, and again, how can we possibly think we're it?
Yeah. Well, for the Christian side of things, people kind of question, we have a God that made us. Well, what makes you think that we were his perfect creation? How many times does an artist paint a painting before he gets it perfect? Or a sculptor sculpts a sculpture before he gets it perfect? Really? So, you have to kind of think in all different aspects. If we're talking about looking at Egyptians, talking about sky people, really? There's got to be something to it.
Well, we have to take into consideration, too, And I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit. The Bible, it removed the book of Enoch, and that is something people should really look into. And it's been translated so many times to suit the needs of man.
Right.
I think, yeah.
There's space calling.
I know, right? Excuse me. Yeah.
She's
hey, Ronnie.
It's live.
I'm writing for a radio show. Can I call you back? Thank you. Okay, bye.
Next.
I know, right? I don't know. There's so many people that say, prove to me that it is. Well, kind of like paranormal just say, exactly. I mean, I have
that it's not.
Yeah, I have plenty of information to support my theory.
Well, because you research and you don't take things just at face value. And a lot of our members are starting to take things at face value. And it's like, come on. It was like one of the posts, was it last night, Jason, was it last night or was it the night before that somebody posted something up there? Oh, it was the fire picture. And we were asking questions and we're like, how is this even paranormal? And you guys are seeing this and seeing that. And all of a sudden, we had the whole freaking ark in the picture that everybody saw. It's like, how do you people just look at a picture and just start assuming there's something there without asking questions?
I would like to start asking, for starters, do they have corrected eyewear? And I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be a jerk. You have perfect vision. Where was the photo taken? What was the temperature out? Blah, blah, blah. I get a little frustrated with people reading pictures. Go read a piece of toast. Seriously.
Really?
If you can demonstrate to me that you have some consistency with your accuracy, I would be I would absolutely be on your bandwagon. I'd stand right behind you. But, when I suggest to somebody about journaling their experiences, oh, no. Why? Why would you refuse that? Why would you push that off? Is it because you've got concerns that you aren't consistent or you can't substantiate yourself? I journal my experiences. I journal them in the best details I possibly can, and I've been doing it since I was 14 years old because I have things happen,
And you have to go back and look at it. Like you said, for you to be able to be not just consistent, but to have a little bit more confidence in yourself, if you're going to, put yourself out there as being a medium or a psychic, you would want to journal and say, okay, I had this happen on such and such day, and I had it happen again, a year later, a year after that, and it always seems to be around the fill in the blank. Well, that's when you can start kind of tying things together. We still don't know 100% of what our brain's capable of. How do we know it's not something?
Do you know who got me journaling about my experiences?
Who?
It was my grandmother. Because I'd been having experiences since I was a small child, and I'd go talk to her about it. And it was funny because she could almost parallel what I was saying to her.
Oh, wow.
And, there was a period of time in my early 20s I thought that maybe I might have a mental illness because of things I was seeing and hearing. And if you speak to medical staff about it, that's right where they go with it.
Right.
The thing is that when I was tested, there was nothing significant that ever showed up at all. I'm very high functioning. And, my grandmother said that since I had determined and eliminated that it might be a psychological issue, that I might be having, spiritual revelations or just some private moments meant for me. And I'm very careful about what I disclose because, I was, in one of my experiences, I was advised not to speak about it, that it wasn't to share, that it was for me.
Just for you.
And, I talked to an elder with a tribe, spoke to him about, that particular instance, and he assured me that, I was on the right track and to honor myself, and I know that there's a lot of comments that come out on the page that, especially, I get some pretty good digs, you know, that I'm a non-believer and that, you know, I'm just waiting to be called a fascist because, I mean, that's the next thing.
Right.
And I know, right? I'm a Nazi. Anyway, and I am German too, so stick back here. So, yeah, no, dude, I'm black. Dude, I am Blackfoot and German. I am Blackfoot and German. I have been the offender and the offended. So, you know, hey, I'm kind of sitting in the middle going, whatever. You know?
But the most important thing is your name really Candy?
Yes, it is, and I'm really a woman. Shut up, Lamar.
Oh, there's been all sorts of accusations.
All right, so I had a very nasty member. Get very nasty with me about my name. My mom was a hippie. I don't have to apologize for that. God rest her soul. The woman asked me if my name was really Candy, and I lost my temper, and I asked her if she was really a woman. And it wasn't my most proud moment. It was not my most proud moment.
Oh, no, but of all things, for somebody to ask you, is your name really Candy?
No, I know. Why would I lie about that? Seriously, why would I lie about that? If I was going to make something
American? I mean, come on.
I know. No. It's Rebecca Littlefont. I don't know. I know, right? No, my name's really Bob.
My name is really, Southernmost Star. I don't know. Really? What did that have to do with the conversation at the time? Oh, my gosh. I about died at that. You guys, you see, we aren't, somebody called us rude last night. We're not rude. We're probably some of the coolest people you could ever talk to about stuff. We're just very direct sometimes and very inquisitive. But we're going to ask the harder questions.
I think people that are posting or having these experiences, I don't know, maybe because they're inhibited about explaining their position, they're very sensitive about it. And I'm not a sensitive person. No offense. I've got children. My sensitivity's gone.
We had that.
But I am respectful. I am very respectful, and I ask you questions to have you help me understand your perspective. And a lot of times I'll take the devil's advocate's position beyond my personal feelings, and I'll ask you to help me see it from your side. So how can you prove that your picture is paranormal? Give me the first brick. You know what I mean? And so we can step forward with it that way. And same with the UFO claim. Explain it to me. Where were you? Documenting your experiences is invaluable. And documenting if it was a group experience like the Phoenix Lights, that's something that's kind of a hot topic right now on the NPS page, and I'm so excited because there are so many explanations coming from people, and I lived out behind Luke Air Force Base. And I know about the maneuvers on the F-15s, the F-14s. I know about desert maneuvers and where they did them and all those things. I'm a military brat right here. But the thing is that my experience with Phoenix Lights is they moved in unison, which was very interesting. If there were flares, they'd have fallen at the same time or at a predicted rate. They didn't. They stayed stationary. More than small combat or aeronautic type or acrobatic type planes. Mm-hmm. If it was separate units, I would think it'd be helicopters, right? Maybe carriers. But it was, people in Paradise Valley had an experience, similar to people in Camelback Mountain and down in South Mountain. It was, and clear out by, Waddell. It was amazing. And, the government hasn't said to go, oh, it was our planes, it was a military maneuver, because all that's restricted airspace, by Luke Air Force Base and by Phoenix International Airport. So if there was a maneuver going on, somebody would have known it somewhere, and they would have broadcast that. So, either it was an amazingly executed elaborate hoax, or it was another little epiphany. Hello, folks. Hello, folks. Hello, folks.
It was a hello.
Well, I tend to hope it was a hello, but I still question its validity. Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's a few testimonies that I don't question. I don't question the testimony of Buzz Aldrin. Yeah. maybe it's just because I feel that, with his service record to our country, that I believe his testimony is beyond reproach. I believe Jimmy Carter. I believe the president was honest in that facet, that capacity, because that was a point of contingency beyond, his leadership skills that could have really derailed him. You know what I mean? But he was honest about it. Ronald Reagan was talking about opening up the files. There's been so many things. And, the possibilities are endless. But like I said, we're waiting for that holy grail. And the pictures that the photography department's really put up there this week have been fantastic.
It's made people think.
Oh, I love those photos. I do, because this is, since the time we could start documenting, people have been trying, and that's what it's about. And I give a whole lot more credibility to those photos than I do anything taken from 1980 on.
Yeah. Once we had the digital rage and we had computers and we had the ability to do it, it's been questionable. Somebody actually said, I'm going to pull them back up here for me to look at, the 1932 picture in St. Paris, Ohio, with George Sutton in the foreground with his car on the side of the road taking a picture, and the UFO. Somebody's like, well, how do you know that wasn't, a saucer on a fishing line? Well, you know what? They really have to have a little bit more perspective to be able to do that. We have to think there were no streetlights back then. The modernness that we have today was not back then. So it's really making people think, how would you debunk that picture? And that's what I've enjoyed this week, is it's not been that's Photoshop, that's an app. I mean, it's not just immediately dismissed. We looked at clouds, and we had a discussion about meteorology on the page with clouds and the layering clouds that made a UFO. We talked about stereo photography, and people were talking about they didn't think that was clouds. They thought it was something else in the background. Well, it was stereo photography. Stereo photography was completely different than anything else we had had. So it's like, guys, we have to really think outside the box when we're looking at these. Now, there's going to be, I don't think I've shared this one yet, so maybe I won't say anything until after I've shared it. But we're going to look at tomorrow, we're going to look at a picture that was taken in 1942 above LA, California. And if we remember, this was actually February 25th, 1942. And it's just a couple of months after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. So when you guys see this picture tomorrow, we'll have some discussion on it, because I've done a little more research on it and found out some more stuff behind it. Doesn't really discredit the picture, but it may make you think a little bit more. And then on Saturday, we've got another really, really awesome picture. We had talked about earlier in the week, somebody was talking about pilots taking pictures. We've actually got a picture from a pilot who was flying his personal aircraft and caught a picture. So these are things that, and that picture is from 1947. So these are things that, guys, they didn't think about faking photographs back then. Nobody was, rude enough, negative enough to want to fake something. It was curiosity. Curiosity was piqued back then. And it was more so than what it is now with having to fake something. So we'll have some really, really cool pictures the next 2 days. And then David put up a really cool one today, too, from the UK, which I thought was kind of cool.
You're getting personal in there.
I was like, really? Yeah, she has acrylic heels, and they have little UFOs in them.
What else? Here.
What department are we starting next week?
Ancient Mysteries.
Oh, is Ancient Mysteries paranormal?
It is.
Are we sure?
I believe. Yes.
You guys, I think we're saving Ghosts and Hauntings for the very end on purpose. So you guys...
It went in alphabetical order. It's not so far down the road.
No, I think it should have been on purpose. We started kind of teasing yesterday. We got a few more minutes here. We started teasing yesterday about the new member challenge. Should we kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I'd love to hear about the member challenge.
So next week, guys, every week we always have a discussion week. If you didn't realize that before, you will realize it now. We've been taking a month for each department, so we're finishing up aliens and UFOs tonight, and then starting on Sunday, we'll start hitting ancient mysteries for the month of July. So each month we'll have those topics. Now, I'm going to add to that something fun that the reps have been talking about, because the pictures are kind of, I hate to say it being the photography chair, but I'm kind of getting tired of looking at pictures. I know that's horrible, and I shouldn't say that, but I want to push what NPS is really about, which is education and solutions. So we're going to offer a member challenge next week, and Candy and I will kind of finalize some of this. But one of the rules is going to be, actually the whole premise is you're going to teach us.
Sherry, we lost you. Sherry?
I can't hear her.
We lost her. Skype threw her back.
Uh-oh.
I'm calling her back.
Okay. All right, folks, we just have a moment here for a smidge of technical difficulties. We're going to call it Think for Yourselves Week. That'd be awesome. No, I have to concur. We have a lot of submissions that are very beginner based. Even some people trying to fool us with different types of modified photos. So what we're going to do to kind of counteract that is we're going to talk about things. Hey,
I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
Right on.
So I missed what you were saying.
I was just filling in for you. Go ahead and go.
So anyway, you guys are going to kind of teach us a little bit. So one of the rules that we've kind of agreed across the board is no pictures. You cannot show us with a picture what you're talking about. So we're going to really make you guys use kind of like some typing and some of your brain power to get your point across. So no pictures. I don't know if we're going to start next week. I'm going to see how much I can get done this weekend and get reviewed with Candy, because I might even offer up a little contest that the reps maybe vote on a daily basis who has the best educational post. And maybe at the end of the week, we'll kind of take everybody from the day, and maybe that one person can come on the show and talk to us about their one point. So we'll see about that. But I do want to see you guys kind of educating us. We have a lot of really, 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 really good members with a lot of great input. So I kind of want to see, where we're hitting and missing with stuff. And I think that's going to be fun. Now, the reps have to stay out of it. So we have discussion week for the reps, and you guys can get all over that. But we cannot get into posting and teaching, okay? I think there's only one person that won't apply to, and that's Sarah, because she'll be starting in the next week. On the 4th or the 5th. Yeah, so I know, you guys, I'm going to make you think now. You're going to have to put on your thinking caps. Instead of us teaching you, you're going to be teaching us.
You're going to have to use your words.
And what's even better is it's not just going to be for ghosts and hauntings. We're going to do aliens, ancient mysteries, cryptozoology. We're going to do all of it, okay? And I think the person that can come up with the most crypto stuff should get a gold star, because we need some more of that on the page.
And resources. We don't have hardly anything for resources, which is unfortunate, because that's historically underutilized division of the NPS.
So you guys, if you guys can come up with resources, kind of help us. NPS is kind of an alive creature in and of its own. So if we're hitting some things and not hitting everything, you guys kind of help us fill in the gaps. If we need more resources, we need more resources. So let's think about that, and we'll start that. You'll see I'll kind of post something on the page, and we'll get it started. Probably won't be till Monday. We'll go ahead and get Ancient Mysteries kicked off, and then maybe Monday we'll start kind of doing the member challenge and see what you guys can come up with to kind of challenge us a little bit. So I'm going to let you close the show. I'm going to remind everybody tomorrow night, if you didn't get enough of me and Candy tonight, tune in tomorrow night at the same time as NPS Focus. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be on PEMA TV tomorrow night, and we're going to talk about all things NPS.
Absolutely. All right, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Blessed Bee. Go to www.blessedbe.cc. It's your one-stop occult shop. If we don't have it, we can find it. We are also looking for sponsors for the NPS Focus. If you're interested, please contact either Sherry or myself via PM, and we'd be more than happy to work with you.
Awesome.
Join us next week, same time, same place, for the Ancient Mysteries. Kicks off with David Malin. He is one of our UK reps. Brilliant man, wonderful input. You guys will enjoy him immensely. Hope to see you there.
All right, if you guys have questions, message us on NPS. Otherwise, Candy, we'll see each other tomorrow night, and we'll see everybody else.